weather is beautiful, and more people are going to be out on their bikes. To join us now on the show, Kelli Kavanaugh. She's the owner of Wheelhouse Detroit Bike Shop in downtown Detroit. Kelli, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So when you heard the governor's press conference yesterday and the news about outdoor capacity limits being lifted, what were your thoughts? Are you excited for the summer?
Yeah, so the very first thing I did was I emailed our bookings director and our general manager, and we started building our calendar for June. I mean, literally, I worked on it last night. So we're going to be ready for our public tours to return beginning June 5th. We have been running small private tours. We will continue to do that, but public tours will launch on June 5th.
And when it's a public tour, how many people?
So in a regular year,
So Kelli, we seem to have lost your audio. I don't know if it's your
um,
internet. Hey,
oh, I'm
Kelli,
sorry.
that's okay. I think it's your internet connection. When you move, it kind of goes in and out.
I
Um,
apologize.
no, that's okay. That's okay. So you were saying though, in a normal time, how many people would be included in some of the tours that you put
We
on?
would do up to 15. We are going to keep it to 6 to start. One reason is staffing, and the other is we did find during the pandemic that running smaller tours, they actually provide better experiences in terms of just communication, safe riding. So we're gonna coast on that for at least a month, and we'll reconsider in July expanding those groups again.
Kelli Kavanaugh with us here on the MegaCast. She's the owner for Wheelhouse Detroit Bike Shop, located in downtown Detroit. And it really is such a great way to see the city because I don't care if you've been in Detroit your entire life, if you hop on a bicycle, you see the city differently.
We get that response a lot when we take people on tours, partially because it's our job to tell you stories that aren't that obvious. I mean, if we're telling you the most obvious things, we're not doing a good job. But like you said, part of the reason I even founded Wheelhouse Detroit was when I travel, that's the number one thing I do. I either rent a bike and or take a bike tour. You really get to see the lay of the land, architecture that, those beautiful details on buildings you just don't see when you're speeding by in your car.
And so, with that as well, Kelli, because are you anticipating this summer is going to be busier? Because we know some people just weren't traveling last year because of the pandemic.
Absolutely. Last year was brutal. We obviously didn't have any tourism, and a lot of our weekday business is also corporate outings, and obviously that didn't happen either. So I don't expect that to return to 100%, but it won't be at zero like it was last year.
And so, with that, Kelli, too, how is it going? How were you able to survive?
Well, luckily, service has been very robust. We're seeing people pull those bikes out of the garage and the attic. The flip side of that is the supply chain is still severely broken. So we're not able to get all of the parts and accessories that we normally would. So we're getting very creative with our repairs. So it's been fine, but it isn't like it's just snap back to normal. Most of our distributors anticipate the supply chain to not normalize till at least 2022.
Wow. And with that, too, we know that I remember back last year around this time, you couldn't find a bike, they were sold out
No.
everywhere.
We are about 2 weeks ago, I actually got a shipment of bikes we had ordered in 2019. So, I mean, we were super happy to get that shipment. But this year, we are seeing bikes coming in, but they're trickling. Like if we placed an order, for example, of 30 bikes, we're getting three at a time randomly. It's not like three every 2 weeks. It's like, oh, we got three bikes today. What a surprise. So it's not a normal year where I'd place an order for 30 bikes and 2 weeks later I get 30 bikes. It's just not like that.
A little bit hard to explain when you have customers waiting for some of these bikes.
I have talked to other people, other business owners in industries that are also facing supply chain issues. And I think all of us feel like, I want to sell you that tire. I really do. I'm sorry I can't. And I feel a little bit like it seems like I'm making an excuse. And I swear I'm not. It's like real.
Right, because it's like every business right now needs to make every dollar that they can.
Exactly.
So with us, Kelli Kavanaugh, owner of Wheelhouse Detroit Bike Shop, and I do think when it comes to biking, it has really gained popularity in Detroit. I think because we're seeing so many of those bikes pop up around the city that people can rent. So even if you have a bike, you don't have to pack it up in your car. You can go in, rent a bike, and explore Detroit on two wheels. And with that, prior to the pandemic, were you seeing more people doing just that?
100%. So when we opened up in 2008, there was a question I frequently got, and it was biking in Detroit question mark. And I felt like I had to sort of sell it. And, there's lots of great reasons to bike in Detroit. We have an infrastructure built for 3 times the population we have now, which is not a great thing, but it gives us plenty of room on the road. So if you're used to riding in other major cities, you come here and you're like, this is Shangri-La. I have an entire lane to myself. It's very flat compared to a lot of places. So that makes for easy riding. So there's a lot of really just basic things about Detroit that make it great to ride. Well, now I'm getting the response of riding a bike in Detroit, exclamation point. People come here and that's what they want to do. They've heard about biking here. And we got the whole Riverwalk, which is fabulous. And that's where we're located. We are on the Riverwalk, within a stone's throw of the DeQuinder Cut, the newly opened Joseph Campo Greenway. And then there's a couple others under construction, the Joe Louis Greenway, which will be a 27.5 mile U, kind of river to river. We don't really do loops here. We like Grand Boulevard, start on the river, end on the river.
And so with that as well, Kelli, can you talk to us about your route? Do you have different routes for different levels of riders?
Yes, absolutely. We have about a dozen tours that we offer, and they range from, if you're really tentative about sticking your toe in the water, I would recommend our Eastern Market tour. It's only about 6 miles round trip, and it's 90% on trails. You're not on the city streets. And then most of our tours are about 12 miles. We do a Corktown tour, we do a music heritage tour, architecture, urban agriculture. So there's a wide range of whether it's a geography you're interested, a neighborhood you're interested in, or a topic you're interested in.
So with that, you had mentioned, so as you're guiding the tours, you're telling stories along the way?
So we pretty much talk at the stops. So we don't want to, while we're riding, we're focusing on safe riding. And then we have frequent stops along the way where we'll gather everyone together and talk about what we're seeing and what we will see, what we just saw.
I think one of the fun things that you're doing this year is your hotel package.
Yes, that's brand new. And that was Visit Detroit, our Convention and Visitors Bureau, during the pandemic was like, let's come up with some stuff we can help our members, market. And so they encouraged us to kind of work together, look at potential partnerships. And the one we're working on with the Element is you book 2 nights there, and it includes our Corktown virtual tour, which is basically me on your phone with a map talking to you at stops. And then it also includes a tour of the Detroit distillery, a tasting at the whiskey factory, and a couple of cocktails at the beautiful Monarch Club, which I still haven't been to, but I really need to go because that place looks spectacular.
I haven't been there either, but I will say the Detroit City Distillery, they do those tours as well. It is so fantastic. And they're quite the storytellers as well.
Oh, good. I'll have to take one of the, we should exchange tours so we know
Yeah,
what each other's doing.
exactly. There you go. Kelli Kavanaugh with us. She's the owner of the Wheelhouse Detroit Bike Shop. And you just mentioned, though, about throughout the pandemic, trying to forge these new relationships. Do you think that's going to be the silver lining for you and some of the other businesses there in Detroit?
I think that is one. I do think another one is, and this is more personal, is I look back to the number of hours I was working running through 2019, and I just don't think I'll ever go back to that. I think I really have learned to value spending time at home with my dogs and cooking and things that I took for didn't have a chance to take for granted owning a business. And I know that that is something I've had this conversation with a lot of other business owners, and I think with my staff too. So my staff is all paid a minimum of $15 an hour now. And I always wanted to pay that wage before. And I just decided, you know what, if I can't make it work, a pandemic's a perfect time to fold, and I'm going to give it a shot. So they all get healthcare stipends now, and it is difficult, but I just have less employees. They work more hours, none over 40, but it's just a little bit different take on the business, I think, than it was in the first 11 years of business.
Hmm. And so, with that as well, Kelli, do you operate just seasonally or is this year round?
Yes, we're open April through Halloween.
And how does that work if bad weather? If I have a tour booked, but there's a thunderstorm that day?
Well, if there's a thunderstorm, we would definitely reschedule. If it's just rain, we do ride rain or shine. And I always tell people it's kind of like if you're at, a professional baseball, football, soccer match. You know, you know, when they roll out the tarp on the Tigers, it's got to be pretty serious weather. So we're kind of the same as that.
That's something good to look for, right? Hey, if the Tigers aren't playing, we're not riding.
Exactly.
Kelli Kavanaugh with us. She's the owner of Wheelhouse Detroit Bike Shop. And Kelli, with that, you've been around for a while, kind of really before the height of Detroit's comeback. And right before the pandemic, there was this huge narrative of Detroit's comeback, and downtown was exploding with new restaurants, new businesses, new housing. And then the pandemic happened and it shut the city down. How do you think things are going to go forward from this point on? Are you hopeful that that business is going to continue to grow and pick up?
I do think there's going to be a little bit of a shift, kind of referencing back to what I was really saying about my own shift personally and business wise. I am very curious to see how the office market's going to rebound, because I don't think everyone's gonna be working at home all the time, but I don't think everyone's gonna be in the office 40 hours a week, seeing obviously it isn't necessary in some cases. So it'll be post-pandemic's gonna be fascinating. I can't wait to be around people without a mask and find out about it.
Right. Kelli Kavanaugh with us here on the MegaCast. And when we talk about the mask, how does that work like for you and your company? Will you require vaccinations, or you're just going on, does everyone have to have a mask? And how does that look as the rules are changing, sometimes
So
daily?
once we're outside, no mask will be required. At the moment, we're requiring them inside, as businesses are allowed to, make their own call on that. We'll continue to evaluate things, but no, while we're riding and outside fitting you on the bike and everything, we will not require masks.
And with that too, which one is your favorite tour?
I would have to say Corktown, and it's because I lived there for 19 years. I don't anymore. But it is a really comfortable tour for me. I feel like there's a lot of different directions I can take the tour, whether it's historic or more of an urban planning, or even like I could talk the whole tour just about the Tigers and how they impacted the neighborhood, good and bad. So I have a lot of directions I can go on that tour. And plus I love taking people either to, Mudgee's or the Gaelic League or Nemo's. Those places are like home to me.
Yes, the Gaelic League, people don't understand. I mean, it's not a lot to get a membership there. By the
No.
way, I think it's like what, $20?
Yep.
Support the Gaelic League,
Yes,
get a
they need it.
membership.
They need us this year.
They so do. And Mudgee's is by far one of the best restaurants in
So good.
Corktown. Although once they got written up, the lines got long.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Don't go on a Saturday. I mean, do go on a Saturday, but I don't go on Saturdays.
That's very smart. So tell us more. As far as if someone wants to do the tour, are they offered every day of the week? How much are they?
So private tours are offered every day of the week, and those start at $200 for up to 6 people. And they range from 200 to 300, depending on the length and the day of the week. And
with
then
that,
our private tours are $40 a person, $50 if you need to rent a bike as well. We will include the bike for you.
okay. And so with the other tours, the group tours, does that come with the bike, or do people need to bring a bike?
That's included. The bikes are included. It's up to you. Some people do prefer to bring their own bike. That's fine, but it's included if you want.
We're talking with Kelli Kavanaugh. She's the owner for the Wheelhouse Detroit Bike Shop in downtown Detroit. And with that, Kelli, I will say, how do you come up with the tours? How many miles do you bike a day?
I not that many anymore, unfortunately. That was one pandemic thing. I need to get back riding on a more daily basis. I've been walking my dogs more than anything, but I come up with the tours because honestly, I'm a huge history nerd, and I love Detroit. So I'm just constantly reading and finding things out. And my background includes community development and journalism. So I have made a lot of contacts over the years. So as people I know open businesses, I want to try and support them. I'll work it into a tour somehow. So it's a lot of, I don't know, just on the ground sort of learning. One of the places I plan on working into tours coming up soon is Spotlight Detroit, which just opened on the east side. Coffee shop and record store by day and music venue by night. So that'll be a new spot to visit. And then this weekend, I just got to take a group to the new O'Deff Gardens on Belle Isle. So those just opened a couple weeks ago. So as things change in the city, the tours change too.
That's so fun. And with that, can I ask you a secret?
Okay.
You're like, what is the secret to getting a comfortable bike seat?
Oh, okay. So first of all, it's extremely personal. When a lot of people think that the bigger seat, the better. I'd say when you first get a bike, give any seat 2 weeks. Just, you got to get some miles on it. A rule of thumb is the more you ride, the smaller you want your seat to be. So the larger seats kind of start out being comfortable, but the more you ride, they can actually cause chafing. So again, I think you need to put some time in onto any seat that you get. If it's on a new bike, give it some time before you make that decision. And it just takes miles and hours. But yeah, it isn't always bigger. Bigger isn't always better. I will say that.
Well, that is one of those things for so many people that are new to bike riding. Even if you take a spin class, you feel it the next day. Kelli Kavanaugh with us. She's the owner of Wheelhouse Detroit Bike Shop, downtown Detroit. You can purchase bikes, you can get your bikes repaired, but also you do the fabulous bike tours. Kelli, anything maybe I didn't add that you want to?
No, I really appreciate this time.
Well, we appreciate having you on the show. We wish you the best of luck. And by the way, the tours are what, like 2 hours, 3 hours? How long are they?
Most are three. Are three. We do offer a couple of shorter ones as well for the private tours, especially if you've got like families, they like a little bit shorter.
Is there an age requirement?
On the public tours, we require 14 and up. On the private tours, no, because we can sort of work with you and your family. And we do have trailers and bike seats, all those kids accessories. We have kids bikes, all that stuff.
That's great to know. Kelli Kavanaugh, owner, Wheelhouse Detroit Bike Shop. How can people book a tour?
Everything is on wheelhousedetroit.com.
And go ahead, I would imagine as the summer continues on, you want to book early because it's going to get busy in downtown Detroit.
Yeah, same thing with rentals. We highly recommend reservations.
Well, we so appreciate your time. We wish you the best of luck this season, and let's hope we're on the backside of this pandemic.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend.